Saturday and we are doing 3 chicken dishes, great for a weeknight, super fast, only take 15 minutes each. We're going around the world. We're off to Italy, to, you know, the deep south, the Cajun vibes, and a little bit of Asia. What more could you possibly want? This Cajun chicken is naughty. It's got a cheese sauce on it with a little sour coleslaw and a little bit of spicy sauce, and it's absolutely amazing. We've got something really homely and feels very warming and comforting, which is like a chicken with a creamy sauce and mushrooms and mustard and onions and garlic and just all them lovely warm things. And then we've got this, which is the satay chicken with just that yummy, crunchy, fresh salad with a little bit of vinegar and some herbs and some rice. I mean, this is an absolute treat. Each one has its own little section, so if you don't want to know how to make something, you can skip forward into the next one. But I would suggest that you learn how to make all 3 of these, of course, because they're all just absolutely fantastic and all really fast weeknight meals. So, without further ado, let's move on. Let's learn how to make chicken 3 ways. Okay, the first quick chicken 15-minute meal. We're gonna make a chicken fricassee. So I've got 1 chicken thigh. I've boned it out myself because I wanted the skin on. So if you're not sure how to do that, just up here, I've linked a video to how to debone a chicken thigh, because they are a little bit cheaper than buying the ones that are already prepared for you. Plus, you get the chicken skin. And then here, I've got half an onion, 2 cloves of garlic. I had some tarragon in the freezer. Not necessary, but a little herb in this would be delicious. If you had a little bit of basil or a little bit of thyme, even a bit of rosemary, just some, you know, some herbiness in there is really nice. And then I've got a little bit of olive and caper chopped up. I've got about 3 olives and about 6 capers and 2 very interesting looking mushrooms that have been hanging around in my fridge. So I'm going to use all of them and we're going to make a really quick, fast meal. Again, this is totally customizable. Whatever you have, let's get it in the pan. But I'd always say you need onion and garlic and a little bit of herb. And then here is some sun-dried tomato oil. So when you buy sun-dried tomatoes, I keep the oil because it's really nice to cook in. So that's going to be our cooking oil. And then I've also got some, whole grain mustard. So we're going to add a good dollop of whole grain mustard in there too. To make this a little bit creamy, we're going to add some cream cheese. I had a little bit left. If you had a little bit of cream, you could use that. If you had, you know, you could actually even just use a bit of yogurt if you wanted to make it slightly healthier, like a bit of Greek yogurt, something like that, just to give it that little creamy edge. And that is it. So this here is going to take you 2 minutes. You're either deboning your chicken or you're not. Either way, 5-minute job maximum. Have this ready to go and we are ready to cook. So that is all for this one. We're going to get to the stove. I've got the water on for the spaghetti. Spaghetti, we're just going to cook to the packet says. This one says 8 minutes. I would say that's probably as long as the chicken will take to cook, and we're going to cook that in the pan first of all. Give it a nice hard sear so that skin goes crispy. We're going to season it with salt and pepper, and then we'll just cook off all these other bits. By then the pasta will be ready. We'll use a little bit of the pasta water, some of the cream cheese. Voila, first meal done in 15 minutes. Probably even less. So get all your bits together and you can make this delicious meal too. So the water's boiling, and we're going to put in the pasta. That's the first job because it's going to take 8 minutes to cook. Just need enough pasta for 1. I know this looks like a really big pan for 1 amount of pasta, but the bigger the pan, the better. You know, the less chance you have that your pasta is going to stick together. Yeah, so always, you know, whichever is your biggest pan, try and use that. That's on. We've got 8 minutes. So now we're going to start with the chicken. A medium to low heat, and we're going to use that sun-dried tomato oil. We're going to put that in the pan first to start warming up, because that is just going to give it a really lovely extra dimension. It can always be used. And while that pan's heating up, we've got our chicken breast here. I'm gonna give it a good season on both sides. But what I'll do is I'll seal this side first, and then we can start searing it in the pan, and then I can season the other side. So that's gonna go in skin side down, always. And we've just got a light sizzle. Now we're gonna season the bottom. So we just want a light sizzle because we want to render that fat and make sure that it gets a good crisp on it before we add all the other stuff. So we're going to leave that skin side down for about probably 3 or 4 minutes at least. So the chicken has had 2 minutes or so, and oh my God, look at it. It looks incredible. That's what you want. You want that nice golden crisp skin. Now we're going to add in the onions, the tarragon because it was frozen, and the mushrooms. And we're just going to sweat them all off in all that lovely chicken juice and sun-dried tomato oil. We'll get rid of these and give them a wash because they've had raw chicken on. So we've got about another 4 minutes on the pasta. And so we're just going to start cooking this down. And what we need to do is make sure that that chicken is cooked all the way through, which it's only small, so it should be. So we're going to cook this down for a few minutes, let them onions get some colour, and then we're going to add a little bit of, if you had some chicken stock, great. You know, you can even just add a little bit of water because there's loads of flavour in here. You know, we've seared the chicken off, we've got the mushrooms in there, we've got the onions, we've got the garlic, we've got all them yummy things. And we're going to add some olives and capers, so there's going to be plenty of flavour in this pan. So it's not the end of the world if you don't have chicken stock. Also, if you wanted to make this even quicker, you could cut the chicken thigh up into squares. I just quite like to have one piece, but if you cut that up, you know, you could make this, you could put in 1.5 and serve, you know, a few extra people. You could add some extra veggies and it would be more than enough for a few people. Oh my God, this already smells like so incredible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this jar because it's got the mustard in it. I'm gonna add a touch of water. We're gonna turn the heat up a little bit and then that chicken will have a chance to poach in the water. Oh, the heat's gone out. I was like, why is this not bubbling? Classic. So I'm just gonna sit like that, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna sit a lid over the chicken so it just has a little chance to steam. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. I've talked about this before, and what are really handy are these little thermometers. If you're not a very confident cook, this is a great way to be able to work out whether your food is cooked or not, especially with things like chicken, which people get a little bit scared of. You want this chicken to read in the fattest part about 72. So we're still a couple of minutes away, which isn't a problem, because what we're going to do is we're going to add these, we're going to add in the olives, we're going to add in the cream cheese, and we're going to let that start to cook down. Because even though that chicken's not quite there, we still have a few more minutes to go of adding ingredients. So you want to add in that cream cheese. We're going to turn the heat down a little bit. I'm going to let that start to cook. And now what we're also going to do is add a little ladleful of the pasta water. So that is what is going to make this nice and creamy and is going to finish that chicken off cooking. So we'll add a little ladleful of that stock, which is just, you know, from the pasta, which is just full of starch. And we're going to let that all melt down and start to thicken up again. We'll read the temperature on the chicken and we should be about there. Now I did have to turn my pasta off because obviously we had the little malfunction of the gas going out, which is just classic. I don't know what it is about this bloody ring on my gas stove, but it often goes out. So we'll just let that reduce down for a minute or two. We'll take another reading on the chicken in its fattest part. And there we go, we're at 72, so we know the chicken's cooked. We're gonna add in our pasta. And what's good is if you take it out with your tongs from the water, there's just that little additional bit of pasta water coming with it, which means your sauce will be the perfect consistency. And that's it, we just gotta serve this bad boy up. That chicken is just super moist from being cooked in the juice. We've got that lovely pasta with creamy mushroom mustardy sauce with the olives and the tarragon. Oh my God, that just looks so yum. And then that lovely chicken thigh with that lovely creamy sauce. And that's it. A super quick weeknight meal. Chicken, pasta, and some delicious bits from the fridge. How quick and easy was that one, apart from, you know, the gas going out? As you can see, only takes 15 minutes maximum to get that all together. So the next one is satay chicken, bang bang chicken, whatever you like to call it. But we are gonna make a little salad to go with it instead of having some veggies, and we're gonna have some rice and then the marinated chicken. So for this one, the first thing you need to do to make it 15 minutes is the rice. Get that on now. If you're not sure how to do it, I've added up here a link to one of my videos on how to cook perfect rice. It'll also be in the description box down below. It's a great way to get perfect rice every time. So that's what you want to do first. If you were organised, we'd have the marinated chicken marinating, but we're not. But we're not organised today. We are making 15-minute meals. So we're going to marinate the chicken first, and then in the air fryer it goes. Nice and easy, no mess on the stove. Great, just pop it in the air fryer. 12 minutes, it'll be done. So let's get the chicken marinated. So again, I've gone for a nice chicken breast, skin on, bone out. And now we're just gonna marinate it. What's really nice is to just use one of these. If you've not seen one, it's called a microplane. They're bloody great. Makes life so much easier. You don't have to mince your garlic up. You can just grate it. So we're gonna add a clove of garlic, like that. As you can see here, all nicely minced. In it goes. I've got here a little cube of ginger. There is a really amazing little handy tip on how to peel ginger so you don't lose loads of it. You know, it's an expensive ingredient, and half the time most of the people cut the edges off and put them in the bin. So again, I've got another link to a different video about ginger, you know, how to save some money. It's a great little kitchen hack. So we're gonna add some of that too. This already smells insane. And then we're just gonna add some flavors to this. So I didn't have any fresh chili, but I had some of this, which is just a chili and garlic paste all together. So we're just gonna have a little bit of chili in there, depending on how hot or how not hot you like it. And then oyster sauce. Oyster sauce is bloody great. But once you open it, you've got to keep it in the fridge. But we just need a little bit of that. And it's great because it's going to give this a little bit of an extra glaze without having to put like honey on it or anything like that. We're going to add a little tiny dash of soy sauce and a little tiny dash of lime. Just a little bit, and that's it. That there is it finished. So we're just going to smush it all together, get it all over every edge, and we're going to put it in the air fryer. Now you can see why this would be so delicious if you marinated it the day before. But like I said, we haven't. So that's it done. We don't need to put any salt or pepper on it because soy sauce and oyster sauce are salty. We've got a nice bit of like garlic and ginger, and that's just going to be absolutely banging. So I'm going to put that into the air fryer at 175 for about 6 or 7 minutes. We're going to have a look at it, and then we're going to turn the temperature up because we want to get that skin nice and crisp. So just make sure that when you put it in, you go skin side up, so that it has the best chance of getting nice and crispy. In it goes, into your preheated air fryer at 170. Okay, next we're gonna make the little pickle salad because that's really nice if it has a little bit longer to just pickle a little bit. So we're gonna take a little bit of carrot. I'm probably not even gonna use all of this carrot. Might just use half of it. Oh no, we'll do a little bit more. Because also as well, this is quite nice if you have a little bit left over and you can use it for something else, or just, you know, make a nice little extra yummy bit to your sandwich. And then we're just gonna cut them nice and fine into strips like this. So they're gonna have a little bit of chunk, but you know, when we add the little sauce to it, which has got a little bit of vinegar in it, it's gonna break down that super hardness anyway. Yeah, that'll do for carrot. And then we're just gonna add a little bit of red onion. Nice fine slices. If you're not confident with your knife, do it very slow, but you want them to be nice little slivers of onion, and not too much. That's probably enough onion. And then cucumber, and this we're just gonna kind of cut into some little chunks, you know, any kind of shape. It's just quite nice to have some different textures. And then that's it. We're going to put all of them into the bowl together, give it a little mix up, and then we're going to add a couple of dashes of sushi. Oh, I thought there was a lid on it. Oh well, I was going to say a few dashes of sushi seasoning. We've probably got about two tablespoons in there now, but can't do anything about it. But the reason why I like to use sushi seasoning is because it's rice wine vinegar, salt and sugar all in one. So it has a little bit of all the things that you would add in a pickling liquid. So that I'm just going to let sit in that sushi seasoning, and it's just going to take on them flavours. You could even taste a little bit now. I mean, even though I probably put a bit too much on there, it's still absolutely yum. You know, you've got a little bit of sweetness, you've got some savouriness from the salt, and then the little bit of acidity. Yeah, it's yum. From the rice wine vinegar that's in the sushi seasoning. Why can't I say that today? Anyway, that is the salad done. And then what we'll do right at the end is just put a little bit of coriander in it. Easy, completed. But it's good to do that next after getting your chicken in, because it gives it a little bit of time to take on them flavours. And then finally, we are going to make the satay sauce. This is so easy to make at home, you do not need to buy it. So we are going to add 150 mils of coconut milk, cream, whatever you've got. If it's cream and it's really, really thick, we dilute it a little bit. I've got crunchy peanut butter because I like crunchy peanut butter. We're going to go for 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, 1 whole tablespoon. We're going to go for 1 tablespoon of lime juice. If you only had lemon juice, great. This is the stuff that goes in the fridge. Lime's super expensive. Of course, if you had a fresh lime, that would be insane. You'd also use the zest and you'd put the juice in there and it would be absolutely incredible. But we don't always have that all the time. And now we need to kind of season this. So we're going to go for two dashes of soy sauce, you know, probably half a tablespoon of soy sauce. We're going to go for the tiniest drop of sesame oil, purely for a little bit of flavour. And that is that. As you can see, it's kind of already coming together and kind of looks a little bit like what a satay sauce might look like. And then we want a little bit of spice in it. So I'm going to go for half a tablespoon of sriracha. Now this, we're going to bring it up to the boil on the stove and we're going to give it a taste. If it needs a little bit more salt, add a little bit more salt. If it needs a little bit more sweetness, we can add, you know, a little bit of sweetness to it. If it needs a bit more sharpness, a bit more spiciness, we can add all of them things to it. But it's as simple as that. And then we're going to put it on the stove and you're going to watch this thing transform into a sauce. And honestly, it's absolutely amazing. So we're going to do that now. We've got the rice cooked, the chicken's cooking, everything is ready to go. And then we've just got to plate this bad boy up. That there is the chicken done. Here is the satay sauce. So we just had it bubbling away on the stove and we've just reduced it. And now it's become this thick, lovely sauce. You just need to give it a little taste and make sure it's all the things you want it to be. As I did there, I added a little bit of sugar because I already could taste that it wasn't quite right. I'm actually going to add to this a little bit more sriracha because I'd like it a little bit spicy. If you had some fresh chilies, that would be amazing. But a little bit of sriracha sauce or even some sweet chili, it does the job. And then you saw the chicken there. I do it low at the beginning to start getting it cooked because obviously that oyster sauce is going to caramelize on the top and you don't want that to get too dark and the chicken not to be cooked. Like I did with the first one, if you're unsure of the temperature, get yourself a little probe. They're really great and just make you a little bit more confident in the kitchen. And now the chicken. So there it is. As you can see, super nice and coloured on the top. I'm just going to sit it in that satay sauce. I'm going to pour the juice of that satay sauce from the air fryer. So we've got some of that extra chickeny flavour in there. I'm going to add to this also a few extra little chopped peanuts, and then we'll save some for the top. And that's it. That's the two things done. The rice is ready to go, the salad's ready. We just need to plate it up. So we've got that lovely glazed chicken thigh with that absolutely delicious satay sauce, which is just full of peanuts and just absolutely great. We've got a few extra little chopped peanuts on top, and that's super fresh little salad. I mean, doesn't that just look absolutely delicious? A 15-minute fast meal with homemade satay, delicious chicken, and a nice fresh salad. Another yum dish. Now, finally, the very last one. We are going Cajun. We're making a like cheesy queso sauce. We're making a nice fresh slaw, and we're doing some chippies in the air fryer. So, 15-minute meals, let's get it going. We're gonna marinate the chicken first. I'm just gonna use some Cajun seasoning. You can make this at home, and of course, I'd love to make it at home, but actually I didn't have all of the ingredients in the cupboard. Sometimes you can just kind of wing it, put it together. I love making a spice mix, really great way to do it, but I just didn't have some of the ingredients that I needed because I finished them all. So I thought I'm actually just going to buy some Cajun seasoning, because then we can get it done nice and quick. So we're going to season the chicken both sides, and I'm also going to use some of this Cajun seasoning at the end with a little bit of salt for the chips. So that's on there. We're just going to go some veg oil, and I'm just going to grate a little bit of garlic, probably half of the garlic. And again, grating is great. Oh dear, sorry. You know, it's just a really good way to do it, because then it's nice and small and it doesn't, you know, you don't end up with these big lumps. So just give that a little bit of a smush around. And just double check, you know, your Cajun seasoning, because I would say that usually they have salt in them. I'm actually going to put a little bit more in, because I want this to be Cajun-y. I want it to be like real nice, you know, like don't ever be scared with your spices. And then I'm going to add a little bit of brown sugar, just a little bit, because again, what I want is for a little bit of caramelization to happen. So that just gets smushed into there, and that is the chicken. Now, you can do it in the air fryer, easy as. We'll get it in, get it going. But I'm actually gonna cook this on the barbecue, because there is something about that nice smoky taste, you know, from the grill. So I'm gonna put this on the grill and get that cooking, and the chips are going in. And while all that's working, we are gonna make the cheese sauce, which is just gonna get drizzled all over this and the slaw. So I'm gonna go turn the barbecue on, get that preheating, put the chips in, and we'll make the other bits. So for the slaw, super simple. You know, you can even use a bit of pre-made stuff, absolutely fine. I'm just gonna take a little bit of the cabbage, probably take that outer leaf off, as it's a bit meh. And then we just wanna finely chop this into nice little thin slithers. Be careful of your fingers. Just make some nice thin bits of cabbage. If you're ever not confident in doing it like I first did it, do it like this. Break it up into a few pieces that you can keep flat, and then you can use that nice rolling chop action. Cabbage is so versatile, and it goes so far. It's such a great veg. So that's going to go in first. I'm going to use a little bit of carrot, and again, this one we want some really nice little thin slithers. Probably won't need it all, as we are just making a little bit. That goes in too. Gonna just use a tiny little bit of red onion again. And I'm gonna put in a little bit of apple, just for a little bit of sweetness. Probably only a little quarter. We're just gonna do some little slithers, just like that. Give them just a rough little slice across too, so they're not so big. And that's it. That's going in. What's really important when you use something like an apple is to give it a little bit of acidity, because otherwise it will go brown. So in this case, we are going to use a lime. So I've actually got that same bit of garlic on the grater. I don't mind that, you know, that just adds a little bit of extra flavour. And then we're just going to zest this lime. This is just what you want this to be really nice and fresh, because we're going to put this cheese sauce on it, which is going to be very rich, and we want something nice and acidic to cut through it. And then we'll cut this in half, and I'm probably only going to use half of the juice, but you want to do this as soon as you cut that apple to stop it from going brown. And then we just give that a good mix. We're going to add a little salt and pepper and a few coriander leaves. I've got a little bit of the stalk and some leaves, which could rip them up. Add them in, and that is the slaw, even though it may not have mayonnaise in it like you might usually use, but it's just a nice fresh slaw that's going to go on the side. So that is ready to go. Now we're just waiting on the chicken and the chips, and we're going to make the cheese sauce. Now, to make the cheese sauce, super simple. It's like a queso, very easy to make. I've got about a cup of cheese here, and what we want to do is dust it in corn flour. So you put probably a tablespoon of corn flour, and we are just going to dust the cheese in it. So that corn flour is going to be our thickener when we cook this. So that there is the cheese done. Add that to your pan. Also to the pan, we're going to add a little bit of the Cajun spice, probably about half a teaspoon. And we're going to add a little bit of salt and a good crack of pepper. And now we're going to take it to the stove, and we're going to start to melt it, and then we're just going to add a little bit of milk. I've only got some oat milk. Whatever milk you have is absolutely fine. And then that is it. We just need to give it a taste, make sure it's seasoned properly, and that's going to get drizzled all over the top. With your cheese and your seasoning in the pan, you just want to be careful that it doesn't catch. So just give it a little move around, but it will start to melt. It's starting to get soft already. And you can see here it's starting to stick to the bottom of the pan, so this is what I mean, you want to be careful. So I would say that we are probably about ready, and we're going to add in a glug of milk, and then we'll just fully let that melt, and our cheese sauce is ready to go. This is where you just have to keep stirring it, because we'll see that corn flour is going to start to thicken. You can see it's changing already, and if it starts to get too thick, you can just add a tiny little bit more water. But that is it, done, completed, ready to go on top of the chicken. Yum! So that there is the cooked cheese sauce, ready to go on top of our chicken. Yes! Chips are done. Out of the air fryer they come. And then there's that little bit of Cajun salt that I made. I'm just going to toss them in that. The chicken, grilled, rested, absolutely delicious. Now we just need to plate up. So we're going to go for a little bit of that slaw. Just a nice pile of it, nice and fresh. Little old pile of chippies. Oh, I love chips. That chicken that's super moist and all Cajun-y. Oh my God. And get all that extra juice on. And that cheese sauce. I just added a little bit extra milk to it. Oh, it's so naughty. And then to finish it off, just a little bit of garlic sriracha or whatever hot sauce you have. And that is your little Cajun chicken. And there you go. That's it. That's our 3 chicken dishes, all ready, all in 15 minutes. And just, as you can see, not a lot of prep to go in them. There's no reason as to why you can't swap out the chicken for maybe tofu or an aubergine or even a cauliflower or something. You know, you can make these vegetarian. They're super simple dishes. These are all just for a little bit of inspiration into, you know, what you can do with stuff and what you can do in 15 minutes. So it's time to give them all a little taste. Oh my God, this cheese sauce. Oh my God. That is naughty and worth to do on the barbecue if you have the ability. To use some with that fresh slaw. So good. We've got the most classic of pastas. I mean, who doesn't love pasta with cream cheese and mushrooms and olives and capers? Yum. And then this guy, that satay sauce. That crunchy salad. And that chicken. Oh, with just that little marinade on it. Absolute perfection. I'd love you to all to have a go at making these at home. Let me know how it goes in the comment section down below. Always grateful for you guys tuning in to Dishes with Del, and we'll see you again next week. Now, like I said, if you ever need to know anything, you've ever got a question about something, drop me a comment and I'll get back to you. And I hope that these 3 dishes give you a little bit of weeknight inspiration. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Ciao!